Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary pals, how we all doing today? If you noticed my background, you can see what we're talking about today. That's right, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Now you may be asking yourself, hasn't this been done before? And the answer to that question is yes, it has been done before. My friend Infernoman also made a video on how the main JoJos have their own Pokemon team. I will leave a link in the description below to my friend Infernoman's channel, so you can enjoy his content along with mine. I'm going to be covering Jobros instead of the main JoJos themselves. I'll do the rules as quickly as possible so we can just get to the content at hand. Rule 1 is that all Jobros will have a full team of 6. 2 is that each of them will have at least one legendary. I do count Ultra Beasts as legendaries since technically they aren't really that common.
You always are in your Ultra Wormholes in Dynamax Adventures.
For the sake of argument, let's just say some of them cannot make it to Alola, or the Crown Tundra in general. Rule 3 is that they're not all based on their appearance. Some are based on their personality or their stance abilities. Now without further ado, let us continue to look over the Jobro's Pokemon teams. Our very first Jobro is none other than Ario Speedwagon, best waifu, and Jonathan's right-hand man. The first Pokemon on his team will be none other than the disaster Pokemon, Absol. Absol can detect disasters before they happen, so it would make sense that Speedwagon would have this Pokemon on his team to avoid disasters in Ogre Street, and to help him out when Jonathan needed him. The next Pokemon on Speedwagon's team will be none other than Ninetales. Speedwagon will most likely have this Pokemon during Part 2, more than he would in Part 1. Since Ninetales can understand the human language and can live over 1,000 years, it would make sense that Speedwagon would entrust this Pokemon to look after the Joestar family even after he's passed. The next Pokemon on his team would be Indeedee, the male form. This Pokemon was most likely a gift given to him by Jonathan Joestar. Male Indeedees often act as their trainer's valets, and they also keep track of their trainer's every need. The next Pokemon on our list is none other than Mr. Rhyme. Speedwagon would have had this Pokemon during his time in Ogre Street, but this Pokemon looks just like him before he took the hat from Sapelli. You know what? That's not important. We must continue on our journey through his Pokemon team. Pokemon on our list is none other than Scyther. When Scythers engage in battle, the more they fight, the more sharper their appendages get. And finally, for his legendary, the Galarian form of Articuno. Galarian Articuno's sword dex entry states that it can cut through iron sheets like paper. The reason why the dex entry was mentioned is because before the hat you see on him right now, he had a bowler hat with blades on it that could cut through bone. There you have it for Speedwagon's team. On to the next Jobro. You might want to hold on to your hats because this one's gonna be a doozy. This Jobro is known as Caesar Sapelli, and no, he's not named after the salad. He's most likely named after the actual emperor. Caesar's first Pokemon is Kingdra. Kingdra was most likely Caesar Sapelli's very first Pokemon. He got it as a horsey, trained it up to a Seadra, got a dragon scale, and evolved it into a Kingdra. Our next Pokemon is Unpheasant. Caesar would have a male Unpheasant to attract others, but that's not why he has Unpheasant. Unpheasant is known as the proud Pokemon. Caesar, being a very proud person, would definitely pick up this Pokemon at some point. Our next Pokemon is Toxtricity. The amped form of this Pokemon is short-tempered and aggressive, which matches a little bit more with his personality than the young pheasant does. He may have been proud, but his more defining trait was his short-temperedness. His next Pokemon is the beauty Pokemon, Milotic. You may be thinking, wouldn't Gyarados make more sense? True, but Milotic was most likely given to him by Lisa. Caesar would have taken very good care of this Milotic. His next Pokemon is none other than the fairy Pokemon Sylveon. His Sylveon would most likely have cute charm to attract women closer to him, seeing how that he was a womanizer. Sylveon's feelers would also be able to help him with his short temper. His next Pokemon is the Rapid Strike Urshifu. For those unfamiliar with Urshifu, you have to get a Kubfu in the Isle of Armor DLC. But it's not really that simple just getting a Kubfu. You have to train it to level 70 and then climb either the Tower of Darkness or Water. In this case, you have to climb the Tower of Water. Caesar had to go through the same thing but with the Hell Climb pillar, where he had to use Hamon to get himself to the very top of the pillar. And there you have Caesar's team. Now on to part 3. Now for part 3, I'm going to be covering both Kakyoin and Polnareff. Let's start this one with Kakyoin. Kakyoin's first Pokemon is obviously a Cherum. Hands down, his very first Pokemon. Most likely given to him by his parents. As we all know, Kakyoin's favorite food is none other than cherries. So he would have raised this Pokemon very well. His second Pokemon is a Tangrowth. A shiny one to be more precise. Tangrowth is known to use its vine arms to ensnare its enemies, kinda like Hierophant Green's appendages. As for its shiny color, I think Kakyoin just really got lucky that one time. Next Pokemon on our list is Sceptile. I originally wanted to give him Decidueye, but Sceptile represented Hierophant Green a lot better than Decidueye could. Sceptile, like Kakyoin's stand, is quite agile because it likes to leap from branch to branch and attack from above or behind. Hierophant Green doesn't like to attack up front, so it's better at sneaking than it is at attacking forthright, like Star Platinum. Our next Pokemon is an Oricorio, but not just any Oricorio, the Sensu-style Oricorio. The reason for this form is because when it dances, it curses people with their malice. If you think Kakyoin doesn't have malice, I'm going to show you something really quick.
I really don't care that you're a baby. I'll snap your neck like a twig.
Y'all see that? Did you see that with me there? That's why. That's why Oricorio, Sensu style. Our next Pokemon is Musharna. This Pokemon was added to his team after Death 13 battle. He wanted a Pokemon that could eat his dreams, so he wouldn't have to have dreams like that anymore. Plus, out of all the Pokemon that could learn Dream Eater, Musharna was probably the best option for Kakyoin. I mean, would you really see him with a Hypno? For his legendary, I decided to give Kakyoin Diancie. The main reason why I gave Kakyoin Diancie is due to its moveset. It can learn Diamond Storm and Power Gem. These moves best represent Hierophant Green's Emerald Splash. Now we head to our next Crusader, Polnareff. Polnareff's team was actually a little difficult to make, but it's as you expect. They're mostly steel types, but he has a lot of coverage. The first Pokemon I'm going to be covering is his very own starter, who happens to be a shiny, Corviknight. The most likely story behind his Corviknight is that he caught it as a rookie D, and he just happened to get lucky, just like Kakyoin's Tangrowth. The next Pokemon on our list is Escavalier. This Pokemon in particular takes after Silver Chariot, especially with its shell armor ability. It also moves pretty fast and will face any opponent bravely. The next Pokemon also takes after Silver Chariot, Aegislash. Not only is this Pokemon a sword, but it also represents when Silver Chariot has to take off its armor so that it can be more offensive than defensive. Not only can Aegislash be used offensively, it can also still be used defensively, only when Polnareff needs it to be. This next Pokemon is just Silver Chariot's looks, but Polnareff knows how to use it pretty well. I'd like to introduce you to his Bisharp. Polnareff had to train this Bisharp from a pawnyard, and seeing how long it takes, he had to work really hard for it. He would most likely be using a Bisharp with the ability Defiant. This next Pokemon has a little sad twist to it. His next Pokemon is Stuffy the Beware. That's right, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary pals. This bear belonged to his sister Sherry. She left it home the day she died. So he took it upon himself to train Stuffy into a Beware, and then went after her murderer. For his legendary, I decided to give him one of the Swords of Justice, Cobalion. This Pokemon is known as the Iron Will Pokemon, and it went with its allies to punish people who hurt other Pokemon. This Pokemon is perfect for Polnareff. Now we head all the way over to Morio in Part 4 in Diamond is Unbreakable. Here we are in Morio, where we head to our next character, Okuyasu. Now, Okuyasu was a little hard to do, but with this next Pokemon, it might make a little sense. I decided to give him Kingler. I have a specific reason why I picked Kingler for Okuyasu. If I may, I am going to read a bit of the Pokédex entry for Kingler. The large pincer has 10,000 horsepower strength. However, it is so heavy, it's difficult to aim. In a similar way, Zahando, or the hand, Okuyasu's stand, kind of works the same way. It has to use a swiping move in order to use its power called Erasure. For Okuyasu's next Pokemon, the blocking Pokemon, Obstagoon. Since this Pokemon needs to fight in order to evolve, it makes sense for Okuyasu to have it. His brother would most likely wanted him to train a Lanoon from the Galar region to get an Obstagoon. And when I say battles, I mean numerous battles. So Okuyasu would have to use this thing over and over again just to get it to where it needs to be. Our next Pokemon happens to be the mascot of Infernament's channel, Incineroar. Incineroar is known for its aggressive behavior, but when it comes down to smaller Pokemon, it's actually very kind. Kinda like Okuyasu, except that maybe his kindness needs a little bit of work. Our next Pokemon for Okuyasu is Primeape. Primeape must have been Okuyasu's starter, despite him having an Incineroar. He must have started out with a Mankey and then worked his way up to get himself a Primeape, which is used very often. We have another sibling Pokemon called Phalanx. He got this Pokemon after his brother kicked the bucket by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and so it was passed down to him. We circle back to another Urshifu, this time Single Strike. Okuyasu didn't really have to climb a tower for this one, says this Urshifu belonged to his father before the flesh buds turned him into a monster. This form of Urshifu believes in the one-hit strike, which is also how the hand's erasures work But the only difference is if you can stop Zahando's hand before it can make a swipe, it can be easily avoided. Now we move on to the one, the only, Koichi. Koichi Hirose. Personally, I think he worked really hard to get that character development. And a chick to go with it. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about his starter Pokemon, Rillaboom. Despite Rillaboom being his very first Pokemon, it's actually very gentle, and it shows the gentler side of Koichi. A Pokemon he got as a gift from Jotaro is the Pokemon Wishy-Washy. Koichi thought that Jotaro was joking about his size, until he used it for the first time. Ain't much of a joke now, is it? Yukako gave this Pokemon to him. This Pokemon is none other than Grimmsnarl. Whether or not this Grimmsnarl actually listens to Koichi is up for debate. Our next Pokemon for Koichi is a dog Pokemon, a midday Lycanroc. Seeing how this form is the most stable out of all three of them, it would make sense that Koichi has this Pokemon in his team. Our next Pokemon for Koichi is Drygalgi. It would make sense for him to pick up this Pokemon since Morio is a seaside town. I wouldn't be too surprised if Skrelp washed up on the shores of Morio every once in a while, so catching this was not really that hard. As for his legendary, we're giving Koichi Zamazenta. Being one of Morio's protectors, he needs something to protect him. According to Zamazenta's Pokédex entry, it can protect itself from Dynamax Pokemon, which are huge. Well, I'm afraid we'll have to say arrivederci to Morio and say hello to Italy. No worries, friends, we're almost done. We just have 2 more Jobros to go over. This one is Bruno Bucciarati. Once Bruno Bucciarati becomes a capo, he is automatically given a Thievul, a fox Pokemon that's known for stealing items from other Pokemon. Bucciarati's next Pokemon is Medicham. The reason why he has Medicham is because it knows the move Detect, which Bruno knows how to detect lies. Spooking its way up on the list is Bayonet. Bayonet represents Bruno's stand, Sticky Fingers, with its zippers. Bruno uses Sticky Fingers to open up hidden rooms, or pretty much escape from any small room just by using those zippers. This Pokemon brings Bruno a little close to home, as this Pokemon is his father's Dreadnought. Dreadnought also shares a bit of aggression and violence when it comes down to its prey, kinda like how Bucciarati is with his enemies. This Pokemon swims really fast and bites really hard. This Pokemon that he has is none other than Sharpedo. He was known as the Bully of the Sea and is widely feared. Since Capos are usually widely feared, it would make sense that Bucciarati would have Sharpedo on his team. The last Pokemon on Bruno's team is none other than Suqueen. Suqueen is able to clean dirty water by merely stepping on it. Bruno would no doubt use this to make sure Italy has a clean supply of water. That is it for Bucciarati's team. Now for the final Jobro, Mista. I made sure Mista was a special case. I avoided all Pokemon with the number 4 in their national dex. We're going to start with his starter, Charizard. Charizards will always find opponents that are strong, but will never go against anything that's weaker than itself. Mista is the same way. He'll fight anybody strong, but he won't hurt anybody who's harmless. The next Pokemon is an Alolan Golem. The reason I gave him an Alolan Golem is that even if it misses its target, even a graze from the boulder that shoots from it can cause numbness and fainting. Another missile Pokemon that he owns is Cloyster. Mista sets up his Cloyster with Icicle Spear and Protect, and he also has the Skill Link ability for his Cloyster. This big lug is a Pokemon he really is close to, and that is his Slacking. Slacking represents Mista's laid-back attitude as long as the number 4 isn't involved. Next Pokemon on his list is Noivern. This Pokemon is normally very violent, but giving it a fruit that it covets, especially a ripe one, it will immediately be tamed. This represents Six Pistols' hunger. Last but not least, the Pokemon that looks like Six Pistols the most is Shiny Deoxys. And we're done with Mista's team. Not bad for a first time making teams for the Jobros, if you ask me. What did you think of the teams? Did you think I left out any Pokemon? Do you think there's better explanations for the Pokemon on their teams? Leave a comment below. And thank you for watching.